Dobirano muy canale. Good morning, my channel. We're here this morning at Reed Park in Santa Monica at the corner of Lincoln Boulevard and Wilshire Boulevard. And today there's going to be a protest against the needle exchange program that the County of Los Angeles is funding with public taxpayer money here. And the residents of Santa Monica and Venice are strongly opposed to this program because we think it causes a lot of problems. Although the needle exchange does cut down on the spreading of the diseases amongst the intravenous hypodermic needle drug sharing community, at what price do we have to pay for that? Giving out these free needles, then they drop them all over the parks where they give them out. Venice Family Clinic is contracted with Los Angeles County to give out these needles. They drive out in a van. They come to Reed Park, Tongva Park over right along Pacific Coast Highway, and Pacific Palisades Park over there. And they drive out. So most needle exchange programs, they make the addicts come into a clinic or a hospital to exchange the old needle for a new one. Here, we're delivering the needles. It's sort of the Uber Eats of the drug euphoria. It's the DoorDash of dope here. It completely blows my mind. Anyhow, let's check out the protest and see how many of the neighborhood residents are going to come out for this. It's 9:50 a.m. in the morning. Protest starts at 10:30, but as you can see in the park here already, the park is just filled with homeless people just laying around, face down, passed out, just getting up here. I mean, they literally have just turned this into their little shooting gallery where they hang out in this park all day and wait for their new needles and drugs, and that's their life. So the park's not being used for recreation. It's just being used as a de facto campground. Containment zone for those people who want to use heroin, methamphetamine. Hey, how you doing? Good morning.
Good to see you.
Here we are here with Fabian from Santa Monica Close Up. I decided to venture out of my normal little area because we're gonna have the protest here this morning on an issue that I actually agree with the protesters.
Oh, good.
So
good to see you out here.
Good to see you. Good to see you as well. Yeah, we the residents don't really agree with the needle exchange program here because we think for the what they're trying to help is the spread of the disease amongst the addicts, but the price we have to pay as the residents is now we have to have our parks filled with used syringes. So you're helping a small minority of people, and now you're putting the entire community at risk. So don't necessarily agree with that. Also, they always say that the needle exchange programs are really effective at helping convince the people to go into treatment. That's from the Center of Disease Control, but the Center of Disease Control study was a controlled study based upon a clinic and a hospital where they walked in every day and had counselors meet with them every single day, encouraging them to go into. So without that, what we're basically doing here is we're doing the DoorDash of dope. We're dropping off needles, and we've turned Reed Park, Tongva Park, Palisades Park, we've just turned them into dope shooting galleries. I mean, look at the park. You got 15, 16 homeless people here just all passed out, laying around. They're just waking up here.
Maybe they're waiting for the needles to come.
I think they are, and the exchange rate is, I guess if you give them one needle, they'll give you up to 20 clean ones. But they don't require you to turn them back in. So people that have been out here counting on the ground, I guess on average, for every 20 needles that are given out, about 14 or 15 of them just get discarded in the park. It's extremely dangerous health risk. Your children, your pets can step on that. That's HIV, that's Hep B, that's Hep C, that's TB. I mean,
don't walk around barefoot, huh?
You definitely don't want to do that. So I got my shoes on, I stay on my bike. I don't even want to run my bikes over that.
You might get a flat.
For sure. Anyhow, good to see you. We're going to be here.
See that. Yeah, I'll be here.
Awesome.
Okay, Danny.
Go.
Bye-bye.
We're here at Reed Park in Santa Monica, and there is a protest against the needle exchange program. We are here with
John Alley. John Alley.
John Alley.
I'm a co-founder of the Santa Monica Coalition.
Okay, so you are one of the people responsible for organizing this protest, correct?
Yes, we did.
Okay, so what is your contention with what's going on here with this needle exchange program?
The focus today is to emphasize that we want the needle distribution and out of the parks, plain and simple. There's plenty of places to put it outside of the parks in privately owned or leased buildings by the county or the city, but frankly we just want it out of the parks. 71% of the residents here live in apartments, many of them right here. They're no longer able to use the grassy areas. Our park employees here in Palisades Park and Sanga Park are getting hurt by running into the glass pipes and the needles, and they've been put on disability. It's leading people to come here, addicts, junkies, not homeless, junkies and addicts, to meet with their dealers as soon as the Venice Family Clinic leaves and get more drugs. And we just don't want that. This is not the place for it, and it's an attraction for that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know, I was kind of making a little bit of a joke here. I said this program to me is like the DoorDash of dope. You know, it's like, you know, the Uber Eats of drug euphoria. These people, you know, the program normally is they go to a location, a hospital, a clinic. Here, they're driving to the park. You got Venice Family Clinic subcontract with LA County. They want to increase that budget, I've been told, up to $70 million for this program. $70 million.
At $3 million. It's now at 33, and it's going to 70 next year.
Right, and I know just from walking around the park, I can see the needles all over the place. You have to really watch where you're walking and stepping. So
I do appreciate the information. I'm going to be here. I fully support you guys, and I really wish this program would get eliminated in the park. I'm okay with the program happening, but I want it in a controlled building environment, not putting the risk of the residents to help the very small minority of the people who are the mentally ill drug addicts.
We agree. There's parts of the harm reduction which we're totally in favor of, the handing out of Narcan, the counseling, but the needle distribution, they call it harm reduction, they call it needle exchange. It isn't. That's the harm part.
Yeah, I just know some stats. I heard the stat is if they turn in one needle, they get 20 clean ones, but they're not required to turn the 20 back in. And I heard the drop-off rate is about 15 of those needles that we're giving them get dropped off. So you're talking 75% of these needles that are being handed out are just being literally discarded.
Well, it's interesting. We asked Barbara Ferrer where the source is for the needles and where our paramedics get the needles. The paramedics of every city in the county obtain the needles from the state. It's very interesting because the county has some deal with some manufacturer for the needles. So I'd love to follow the money.
Yeah, for sure.
And we will.
Yeah, I'd love to see who is the manufacturer. Is it actually a United States manufacturer? Is it an overseas? Yeah, that's what I say for all this. Ultimately, what makes me really upset as a citizen and a resident here is when they say that it's to help somebody, but then when you really found out at the end of the day, it's just about spending money and perpetuating the problem, not actually trying to solve it.
Really appreciate you coming out.
Normally I stay in my little area. I'm a Venice Penmar Park guy, but for something like this, I made the journey.
Well, it's interesting because we believe this is coming to a park near everyone in LA County. This is the third largest hub for meth and fentanyl overdoses. Their distributions right now are spreading, some secretly, in other parks in the valley, but right now, Skid Row, MacArthur Park, and guess what? Santa Monica. Yeah. This isn't the place for it.
No, I've also been told that Santa Monica, on a per capita basis of population, has more overdoses than even San Francisco right now at this point.
We have more overdoses and we have more homeless per square mile than San Francisco.
You know, I beg everyone, listen.
Let's restore the sanity here. Let's bring back the community for the residents. I think I see a UCLA van over there. I don't know if that is the needle exchange program. I thought it was Venice Family Clinic did the needle exchange. That might be some other community outreach program that's coming here out to the park. I will go and investigate. And I do appreciate taking the time to talk with you. Thank you very much.
Anytime. Thank you.
So we're here at Reed Park in Santa Monica, and we have some of the protesters. You want to tell us who you are?
Elaine Golden Geeler. I have a newsletter. If you want to know how to get on it, It's Elaine's news you can use, but to get to it, you have to go to my email, elaine@elaine360.com.
Okay.
Elaine@elaine360.com.
Okay, so everybody check out her newsletter. She is somebody here who is fighting to restore Santa Monica and its parks back to their intended usage, which is recreation for the children and the adults.
Exactly.
Not a place for mentally ill drug addicts to hang out and shoot dope all day.
Right. You got it.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
My pleasure.
That's inappropriate for a county health department director to be saying to the mayor of a city and their county.
If I may play devil's advocate, why do you think this is not a 7-0 unanimous council feeling, I suppose? Why is council split over this?
We have a clear divide in this city on two things. One, public safety. I have several council members who were never gung-ho on providing the public safety that our residents want, need, and deserve. The four of us walk these parks. This is the park I grew up in. Reed Park is where I grew up. This is where I play. There used to be a lot of bushes here, a lot of places I could hang out and play. That theater is where I did my first play at 12 years old. All four of the council members who were against the continuation of this program in our parks and near our schools, whether public or private, grew up in this community. I think that's one big difference. We know how this community can be. We know how this community was. And we know that the safety of everyone in our community, from 5 days old to 95 years old, is our responsibility as city council people. And we have to make sure, as much as we can, that while we're compassionate to those who are unhoused, we're also compassionate to our residents, compassionate to our businesses. It's important to have all three mixed together. And we're not trying to push our homeless people out. We want help for them. I have been incessant in my request for more street-side social services since I got elected to the council. The fact that a block of council members have a different view, that's absolutely their right. It's their right to disagree. I don't think it's their right to lessen the safety of all of our residents.
And finally, to the residents of Santa Monica who are looking on this, maybe they're not quite sure how they themselves feel. What can you say to reassure them?
Comes right back to what I just said. It is every mayor, every city council person's obligation to keep the people in their city safe. That's the first, most sacred obligation, not only here in Santa Monica, but throughout the world. So, for me, I'm a resident here. Every resident in this community are my neighbors. That's what I pledged to do when I ran for election, was to help my neighbors. So for me, that's really important. And I want residents to know we're absolutely not trying to minimize the danger from hepatitis, minimize the danger from AIDS. But I've had park employees, groundskeepers, I've had custodians and innocent people, all of them were innocent, but be hurt and be stabbed by these needles and have to go through hepatitis and AIDS protocol. The fear of something happening in this park keeps people away from enjoying this park. That's wrong. We have too few parks in Santa Monica. This is one of only three parks between Wilshire Boulevard and the North City limits. We have less parks. This is the most densely populated part of the city. It's our obligation to make sure that everyone comes here and has their birthday parties, that they wait here while they're waiting for communion, that their families can come here, that seniors from across the street at Westminster Towers can come here to play chess and checkers, and just to be outside. It's so crucial. I've talked a lot this year about adding trees, adding more open spaces in the new apartment houses, making sure that we all have a chance to breathe and see a butterfly, which is right behind you. And all those things are so important to our residents. So I want people to get help, desperately want people to get help. And we've taken 3 new initiatives just this year to try and get people more help in the community. But handing out hypodermic needles, handing out syringes is wrong in this park. If you want to hand out Narcan in this park, absolutely do it. I'm fine with handing out Narcan everywhere in the city. And I'm fine with Venice Family Clinic or another organization making sure that they offer the needed supplies in a place where people can also receive help, or at least the offer of help. The object is to reduce the issues on our streets. The object is to make sure all these people live. The object is not to let people die on our streets. That's what I'm against. I'm against anybody dying on the streets of Santa Monica. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good.
Oh,
Okay, so we are at 10:30, and here are the people that have gathered in Reed Park, Santa Monica, for the protest against the needle exchange program that is being done by the County of Los Angeles in the park. Say Parra Parks. Somebody want to explain to me, give me a little background on Gleam.
That is, I can't, except for this is the one I want. To the best of my knowledge, she's pro needle exchange.
And is she a Santa Monica?
She's also the councilman.
Santa Monica Councilman. Thank you very much. And what about David? What about David White?
Yeah, I don't think he should be fired. But
he's another Santa Monica councilman.
He's not a councilman. I forget his title, but he's way up there.
Okay. Sure, absolutely. I'm familiar with the LA County Board of Directors. I'm just not intimately familiar with all the people who are on the Santa Monica Council and also the various departments. Thank you.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Sir, jump in, maybe. No? Okay.
I'll fix it. Find out.
Thank you.
Tell us who you are and why you're here this morning.
Well, I'm a co-founder of the Santa Monica Coalition, and we're here for a protest to end the needles in our parks.
And I'm a mom in a minivan who really just cares about kids, everybody's kids.
She also happened to run for a Board of Supervisor position for our district and did an incredible job.
Just a concerned mom trying to make our park safe. Just a concerned resident.
That seems to be a recurring theme. It seems kind of obvious to me that parks should be for recreation of children and adults. Didn't mean to skip you on the list.
That's okay. That's quite all right. I'm like everyone else here. I just want the parks to be returned to the public.
Yeah. To me, the parks were built so that our children and us as adults could go out and have exercise and recreation, not as a place.
There's a place for needles,
I agree.
That's under medically supervised location.
Exactly. A clinic or a hospital, which is where the data from the CDC in Atlanta, who tells you that the programs work, because they had wraparound services inside of a physical location requiring someone to come in on a daily basis where they were immediately told, hey, would you like to enter these programs?
That's right. We want safety for our children and our families. We want people to be able to enjoy our parks.
Absolutely. Let's go back to using the parks for what they were designed for.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
Can we commend Jessica and everybody associated with
all of the members of the Santa Monica Coalition. If you're not a member yet, just go to the santamonicacoalition.org and sign up. You just click a button called join, and there you are. You're a member of our coalition.
Okay, so you heard that, everybody. It's santamonicacoalition.org. I'm Danny Slant. I have a YouTube channel. My YouTube channel originally was about riding my bike on my adventures around the world. I live in Penmar Park, Venice, and our community has just been destroyed. And I see what's happening over here, and it's the same agenda, so I'm fighting against this.
Thank you.
It seems like the vast majority of people want what seems to be, you know, safety for our children.
Do you mean common sense?
Yeah, basically, yes, common sense. But for whatever reason, those elected officials are seemingly going against the grain, and they're doing things.
Yeah, there's harm reduction.
They're not. They do not represent the majority of our people. We just need people. We need our residents to show up and voice their opinions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like they're doing today. We can't wait to get started. We're going to get started.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody. All right.
We're also one of the safest cities
everybody grab
years
a
ago.
sign.
Now, I'll ride my bike instead of riding at night. I'll stop riding at 4:30. It's not safe on the path or anywhere going through Venice,
right?
Which is terribly unsafe, and it's just not fair to us. You know, paying our dues, living here quietly, and all these people come out and attack. And like I said, we have to change our lives for them. They don't have to change their lives.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm Ken Robin, and I'm here as a parent of a 7-year-old that plays in this park, and I find it extraordinary that they are targeting our kids with these programs that are completely able to be taking place in other places. I agree that they're necessary, but they don't need to target our kids, and they can figure a better way. So that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, she was an advertiser.
Okay, Gleam Davis can't think of a more appropriate place to give needles to addicts than our parks. Then she doesn't belong on City Council. Vote Gleam out in November.
She is the only person that wants to distribute needles in the parks in the Santa Monica City Council that happens to be up for re-election in 2024. There are two more, Zwick and Torrosis, but they're not up for re-election until 2026. So we can all really work together to get rid of Gleam. She has been one of the long-term problems on the City Council and why it has become a junkie magnet in Santa Monica.
Is there any opportunity to have a recall effort against the other ones if you don't want to wait until the re-election?
I think we should just focus every energy, talk to everybody you know. Gleam is a poison to this community. Gleam.
Thank you very much.
She does not gleam.
That they're represented, and so you're
Shorter
their voice
message coming
today.
from Jesse Zwick is probably the worst problem on the council, but he's not up for re-election until 2026. He was mentored by Mike Bonin, so that's poison already.
I'm a Venice Penmar Park resident. I've had more than my fair share of how much Bonin has destroyed. We're still haven't overcome everything that he has done. We still are having problems in the Penmar Park area. Penmar Park is still a homeless encampment magnet because of what was created over there.
It is absolutely true. Created intentionally by Mike Bonin, and Jesse Zwick was in his office for a while, as I understand it. So, and that was the plan, to get him into Santa Monica. My plan is to get him out of Santa Monica, but I'm going to have to wait till 2026.
Okay, thank you. I may have to blur that last word on there. YouTube actually has quite a bit of censorship.
As long as I didn't put this word there and this word there.
Well, you mean he's a Richard. That's why you're calling him Dick, right? Exactly. Thank you very much.
I'm Whitney Bain. I'm running for Santa Monica City Council. I've lived here since I was 11 years old, and this city has just gone to the dogs. You know? Nobody cares. I don't know what their agenda is over at City Council, but they seem to want to have chaos and anarchy in it. Nobody seems to want to help. They hinder rather than help the vagrants and the drug addicts and what have you. So I want to clean it up, and that's why I'm running. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And your name one more time again?
Whitney Bain.
Spell that, please.
W-H-I-T-N-E-Y. Last name is Bain, B-A-I-N.
Whitney Bain.
Yes, sir.
For City Council.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Santa Monica.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
It's a gorgeous day, and we really appreciate you being here and using your voice to say what you stand for and what matters to you in your community. Here today, we're here to stand up and say no more needles in our parks. We want safe parks, and we don't want needles in our parks. So I'm going to ask you a very simple question. What do you want?
No more needles in our parks!
When do you want it?
Right now.
What do you want?
No more needles in the parks.
When do you want it?
Right now.
All right, what do you want?
No more needles in our parks.
When do you want it?
Now.
Okay, so we've got a great little program for you today. And first off, we're going to invite Roxanne Hogue, who is a superstar. She happens to also be a mom. She has 4 children, believe it or not. And she ran for the Board of Supervisor position in this district. And she's amazing. She's a rock star. Come on up, Roxanne, and share some words with us.
Roxanne, can you spell your name?
Good morning. I can. I'm going to hold on to my purse because apparently we're in Santa Monica and it's not safe to just leave it somewhere. But that's very sad. Roxanne, R-O-X-A-N-N-E, Hogue, H-O-G-E. Thank you so much, Jessica, and thank you everyone who has come out this morning and braved the 405 like I did to get here. I used to live in Santa Monica when I first came to LA, and as Jessica mentioned, I had 4 children. And guess what that means? You have to move every time you have another child. So now I'm living in the northern regions of of the valley in North Hollywood, and that's what most people do. When we can't afford something, we go somewhere where we can afford it. And so I want to dispel, first of all, the first myth that our housing and homelessness crisis is a matter of affordability and housing. It is not. We have eyes. We know what we can see. Okay? People move when they can't afford something. It's the right to life, liberty, and happiness, not the pursuit of a condo in Santa Monica or beachfront property in Venice. So that's the first thing. I really also have to say that I'm an immigrant from Jamaica, island of, not New York. And I remember distinctly coming to America and my stepfather taking us on a road trip to Disney World in Florida, and marveling as a 10 or 11-year-old at how the streets were so clean. And I said to him, how come the streets are so clean? And he said, because it's illegal to throw trash on the streets. And to me, that was one of the most amazing things about this country, that you could be so rich and everyone just so committed to taking care of each other and the environment that the streets were clean. Flash forward 40-something years, and that's not the truth here. My country, technically a third world country, has cleaner streets in the county of Los Angeles. One of the other things I found amazing about America that we didn't have, that a lot of countries don't have, and nobody knows this: public libraries, free books for kids like me who are voracious readers who want to learn and visit different worlds. Guess what? We don't have that in this incredibly rich county, in the best state in the union. We've given away libraries, and now Lindsay Horvath and the ladies of The View want to give away all our parks. Do you know what parks are for children? Do you know what parks are and what they mean to people with no money, who live in boxes, who can't afford to move, who cram themselves into an apartment building? This is where they get green space. This is where they get air. This is where they get life and meet other kids and walk our dogs. Lindsay Horvath, when we were running, proudly said she was a dog mom. It's not safe for dogs to be around needles in parks, much less our children. But this is not a matter of just our children. This is not just for parents. And again, 4 children means you live in the valley, unless you're loaded. So, because you can only afford 1 kid here in Santa Monica. But people come here to enjoy this. This is about the children. Tell them I'm busy. This is about the children that we are seeing on the streets every day. They look like adults to you, but they are each and every one of them someone's child. They have a mom, they have a dad, they have brothers, they have sisters. Some of them even have wives or husbands. How dare you give them needles to encourage their addiction and their descent into madness and terror? How dare you do that to God's children, to all our children?
Hear, hear.
Stop it.
Hear, hear.
It breaks my heart to see people on the street like that. And we know what the road to hell is paved with, don't we? So it doesn't matter that people mean well, that they all have "hate has no home here" signs in their windows. Those signs do nothing. But those needles and safe injection programs are worse than doing nothing. They're encouraging harm. They're giving bariatric surgery, gastric bypass, and Ozempic to anorexics. They are giving, as Jessica said, gift cards to See's Candies to diabetics. They are destructive, incredibly disruptive. And let me just say one word about Barbara Ferrer. We know her as the fake doctor because she is. She has a doctorate in one of the easiest things. And look, I'm not being mean. I'm quoting her. She went into public health because she couldn't hack science classes. She said that in a very extensive interview. I'll share it with you later. She said lots of interesting things. Next slide. She is not the most technically adept or intelligent person, but she does know one thing. She knows that there's gold in them thar hills. Harm reduction and safe injection and needle programs cost money, and people get a nice payday from encouraging them. I don't care what you do in the privacy of your own home. I really don't. But this park is not the privacy of your own home. This park belongs to people. It belongs to children. It belongs to dog walking people. It belongs to seniors. It belongs to anyone, women especially, who deserve safety. Stop it now. Please, for the love of God, Lindsay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Roxanne. Let's give Roxanne a great shout out. So, okay, because we love to do this, we're going to do our second chant. And this is so much more fun to chant with. Is it working? Yeah. It's working. Okay, great. So you're just going to repeat after me, and then we're going to get in the flow. To needles in the park. To needles in the park. We say no.
We say no.
David White's gotta go.
David White's gotta go.
To needles in the park.
To needles in the park.
We say no.
We say no.
David White's gotta go.
David White has gotta go.
Okay, one more time. We got it all together. To needles in the park. Come on with me. To needles in the park. We say no. David White's gotta go. Yay, okay. So, I'm gonna switch to the mic and pick up my little bits here. So, I'm gonna give you a quick history of how we got to where we're at today. So in 2019, our co-founder John Alley went for a walk with a mom in the parks, and guess what he found? Needles everywhere, but in addition to needles, he found a program handing out needles in our parks. So then it took quite some time, but he showed up to City Council and he let everybody know at City Council that what was going on. And so it took them a while, but in September of 2022, Sue Himmelrich, our mayor, wrote a letter to the county and said, we don't want needles in our park. This has to stop. So nothing happened. February of 2023, the Santa Monica Coalition got together and we said, you know what? Nothing's happening. We got to do something about it. We started a petition. We now have a petition of 22,000 letters sent to our officials all the way up to Gavin Newsom. And guess what? Nothing happened. In June of 2023, our city manager, David White, who needs to be fired, wrote a joint statement with the Department of Public Health in collaboration with them. They actually helped each other write the thing out, and supporting needles in our parks. And then nothing happened. So 4 of our council members, including Mayor Phil Brock, Oscar De La Torre, Lana Negrete, and Christina Parra, signed a resolution one more time saying no more needles in our parks. So today we have the pleasure of inviting them to come up and speak with us here, and we're very grateful for what they've done, but we need to get this
finished. We need to end it. We need to stop it. Because apparently just having the city council say something doesn't work in this community. So we're standing up. We're telling Gleam Davis, you need to fire David White. You need to do what's right. And all that being said, I'm going to invite up our mayor, Phil Brock. We're so happy that you're here today. And Phil, before you start, I need to tell you that at the city council, they put us on a timer, and it beeps really loud when our time is up. So Phil, you got 5 minutes. We're gonna do this to all of you today. It's kind of payback, it's only fair. So Phil, you got 5 minutes. We're doing it in good humor. Come on up, tell us what you're doing for our city.
Good morning, everyone. I'm happy to see all of you here. And I'm very happy to see that this park is the cleanest it's been in a year or two this morning. So I thank our city staff and police department for taking action. But more importantly, we have a long-time problem in 3 of our parks, in Reed Park, and Tongva Park, and Palisades Park. The county is distributing clean syringes and needles. They don't tell us how many they get back, but they distribute them here in this park. Now I want you to look around for a minute. I have 2 children's playgrounds right here. I have a tall senior citizen complex across the street. For that complex, this is their only breathing room. This is their only green space. I've got 678 children across the street at St. Monica's Prep Elementary and High School. Less than a half a block south of here, I've got the Boys and Girls Clubs, which can have up to 300 kids a day in that facility. Now, in between, there's this park, one of only 3 parks north of Wilshire Boulevard in the city of Santa Monica. This is the park that I grew up in, that I played in, that I did my first play in. This has been my neighborhood park since I was born. And when we have asked the county to stop distributing syringes and needles outside in this park, the county has ignored our elected officials now for over 2.5 years. Vice Mayor Negrete, who you'll hear from in a couple of minutes, brought this issue to the city council's attention. The county had never asked the city if they should be distributing syringes or needles outside in our city parks. We've now, last Tuesday, the council majority in Santa Monica voted once again to demand that the county health department cease the delivery of syringes and needles outside in this park. We have all said that we want to reduce the episodes of hepatitis, reduce the episodes of AIDS. That's a worthy consideration, but that can be done inside a facility where people also are taught, they get a discussion at least started about getting clean, about not killing themselves with fentanyl, which is a poison, not a drug, not killing themselves with tranq, not killing themselves with meth, because at this point, Santa Monica is an extremely compassionate city. We want to help people, but it's not. I'll repeat, it's not compassionate to see our residents, our homeless people in our city die on the streets of Santa Monica. And so the county, under the guise of reducing hepatitis, under the guise of reducing AIDS, is facilitating the killing of homeless people by themselves, by their own needle. That needs to stop in our city. It needs to stop, frankly, in every city in LA County. The county has ancient statistics that talk briefly about harm reduction. I talk about harm reduction to our children, our custodians, our groundskeepers, people in our city that need to be safe.
Yep, right on.
Yeah. It is an imperative that this needle syringe program ends in Santa Monica's parks. I want this park safe enough that people from the neighborhood, children have their birthday parties here, people play here, seniors from across the street get to play chess and checkers, and everyone gets to use this park because this is the lungs of our most densely populated neighborhood in Santa Monica. So very simply, Barbara Farrar and LA County Health, stop the distribution of syringes and needles outside in our city. It can't be, we can no longer have a situation where county health is supposed to protect all of us, has decided that they will distribute drug paraphernalia in our parks. I'm pleased if they want to distribute Narcan. I'm pleased if they have street teams that want to go out and help people get off drugs. People have a chance to regain their lives. People have a chance to reunite with their families. We're all for that in Santa Monica. We spend more money than almost any other city in LA County. And I hear my buzzer going off. I like that. Not as loud as it should be. But very simply, my pledge as a mayor and our pledge as a city council is to do our best to keep Santa Monicans safe, to keep our visitors safe, to keep our tourists and our workforce safe in our city. We can't do that when LA County doesn't support us. Thank you.
Are you ready? I'm ready.
Better be short.
Better be short. Okay, well, it depends on how fast you make this chant. Repeat after me once, and then we're gonna get it. It's pretty easy. No more needles in our park. No more needles in our park. No more crime after dark. No more crime after dark. No more needles in our park. No more needles in our park. No more crime after dark. No more crime after dark. One more time. No more needles in our park. No more needles in our park. No more crime after dark. No more crime after dark.
Okay, see, I can do all kinds of things. So I'm just going to tell you really quick that we had a meeting with Barbara Farrar a couple weeks ago and her little cohort, Dr. Gary Sion. Not sure what to say of their psychiatrist, Brian Hurley. He smiles a lot. And we asked for no needles in our parks. They said that there was never going to be a harm reduction program that didn't include needles in the parks, and if anything, she was going to push needles even harder than ever. While we were at that meeting, she said, you know, in Santa Monica, if you cut a deal with us and you give us safe injection sites, maybe we'll consider taking the needles out of the parks. That's what she had to say to us. We also found out that their program last year was $3 million for harm reduction. This year, it's at $34 million for this very specific program in Los Angeles County, and they're intending on doubling it for next year. How many needles are they trying to spread across LA County? Just sit on that for a minute. Something very important to know about Lindsay Horvath. She was at a meeting at the Santa Monica Democratic Club, and when she was asked about this program and whether or not she supported it, her answer was, listen, we need the needles, and we need needles because we need to be able to connect to those living on our streets and in our parks. And this is our way to talk to them. It's really hard to talk to them, and if we don't have a needle to extend, we can't talk to them. That is an absolute outrage for the people who work in the services industry. I'm a social worker, and I have no problem speaking to anybody on the street, and it's never required a needle. Just sit on that. But while you sit on that, I'm going to welcome up Vice Mayor Lana Negrete, and I hope it's the Vice Mayor and not some other fancy name. Vice Tempore, something fancy. Anyway, Lana, come speak up. You have 3 minutes, dear.
That's a long time. Well, it's so great to be here because this is where I'm born and raised, Santa Monica. I grew up going to this park. I still go to this church, and I'm a renter. So parks for me are really important because they are my front and backyard, as I don't have one. And like many of the residents here in Santa Monica, whether it be our elderly, our children, or just people enjoying some open space during lunch break, we rely on our parks to be safe places. When I got appointed to council first before I was elected, I was here doing Mommy and Me music as a way to sort of curtail the activity that was happening in the park. I thought if we could get parents and families together, we could take over our park and take our park back. And during that time, a woman named Ashley, who was a mother, came up to me and she said, "Excuse me, are you an elected official?" My daughter, she was 3 at the time, who has to use needles for her diabetes, picked up one of these needles thinking it was hers. Another man came over and said, "My son stepped on a needle and it went in his foot. We had to take him to the hospital." And we didn't know if it was an unused needle. And we all know, because I know this was said in a council meeting the other day, when a needle hits the ground, it's dirty. Unless you're having somebody use it with, in a medical situation, you can assume it's a dirty needle. I was floored. I didn't understand where these needles were coming from. And I brought it up in a discussion at City Council and nobody seemed to know about this program. I was asked by this parent group to come back on the day they were handing out the programs. And what I witnessed is what I was most appalled by. It was not a one-for-one exchange. Let me take your dirty needle and dispose of it, and let me give you a clean one in hopes that today, if you inject yourself, you're eliminating the possibility of getting an infectious disease. However, what was happening was bags of needles, over 10, 20 needles were being handed and left at the park. Some were being exchanged with other members between each other, not by a professional. There was nobody being offered any services, and when I asked them about how this program works, they said, "We're trying to meet the needs of addicts where they are." I have to tell you, my half-brother and my uncle are addicts, meth addicts. It has destroyed our family, and it hurts to my core. As somebody who supports Claire Matrix program, as my brother was a resident and recipient and now lives in a sober living home out of the state, I can tell you what it's done to our family. I stand here as a mother, I stand here as a resident, I stand here as a sister and a niece to addicts, to meth, and the opioid addiction crisis and what it's done to our families. And I can tell you right now that not one of us who are parents, if we caught our kids using in the bedroom, would say, "Honey, let me bring you a clean needle." We wouldn't do that. We would get them the help that they need. And everybody here, as someone mentioned before, is somebody's son or daughter. We need to get them the help that they need. Over 106,000 people died of drug overdoses in 2021, and that number is on the rise. I'm sorry, but we do not have a hepatitis epidemic. We have an opioid epidemic. People are dying on our streets, at our church, and next to them are needles. You can smoke meth and fentanyl and other opioids, and you can take them by pill form. I run a nonprofit organization that helps at-risk youth. I was once an at-risk youth. I give back for that reason, and I'm telling you that shooting up drugs by way of needle is the quickest way to die. And so we stand here not to say that this should not be a partisan issue. This should be a common sense issue. Let's stop making things political back there, Jason Mastabom. Let's stop making things political. You're filming from the back of the room to make this a political issue. I look forward to seeing myself on Twitter later on today. This is not a political issue. This issue is common sense. It's about the safety of those that are addicts, and it's about the safety of everybody.
Spell your name for me.
My name is Lana Negrete, Negrete.
And Lana, L-A-N-A?
L-A-N-A.
And you're a city council person?
I'm the vice mayor of the city of Santa Monica and a born and raised resident.
Thank you, Lana.
Thank you, Lana. Thank you for speaking the truth. These timers, I don't know how. Council members. So at the Santa Monica Coalition, we just want to thank you for coming and being the voice of your constituents, those who elected you, and for all your hard work. And we urge you to continue along this path. There's a long way to go. And just as a little thank you and a reminder, here's a little gift bag. There are no needles in this bag. Here's your bag, Phil. There you go. You could give this one to Oscar. There's a beautiful t-shirt in there for you. I think you might enjoy it. Thank you so much. Now I'm passing the mic on to Oscar.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. It's great to see all the Santa Monicans out here today, united for common sense. And I'm really glad Councilwoman Negrete pointed out that this shouldn't be a partisan issue. This is about common sense. You know, a lot of people are talking about reports and the science, you know, and data. They keep on saying, you know, you got to look at these reports that say that this reduction in harm approach is the right approach. This is the way that we save lives. Well, I had a meeting with Dr. Tsai, there was a discussion in terms of, you know, the approach that they have, this reduction in harm, this meet them where they're at. And one thing that I learned is, in terms of the data, he pointed out that we've had an increase in overdose deaths. So it's just skyrocketed. In 2017, we had 200 plus overdose deaths in LA County in 2017, 200 plus. It's like 258 if I remember exactly. In 2022, there were more than 3,000. It was like 3,000 plus overdose deaths in Los Angeles County. That is a crisis. When I asked, well, why? What's the number one reason? He said 2 drugs, fentanyl and crystal meth. But then when I asked, well, do you have data on how they're ingesting the drug? You know, are they snorting it? Are they smoking it? Or are they shooting it? And he said that he didn't have that data, that we don't have the data. And I go, well, it sounds to me, I asked, I go, do you feel that it's a greater risk to shoot the drugs versus the other ways of consuming the drugs? He said, I don't know, we don't have that data. And I said, hold on. To me, it seems like it's common sense, right? That shooting up drugs is way more dangerous. And it probably explains why we have the astronomical number of overdose deaths in LA County. And I thought to myself, you know, if we had a crisis of people shooting themselves in the head, why would the government be handing out handguns? It makes no sense, right? It makes no sense. 70% of the residents of the city of Santa Monica are renters. 70%. The great majority of people living in our city depend on public parks, depend on our beaches, depend on the public space for their own.
360 strong over here.
360.
Cannot enjoy our park.
Okay, 360, mostly seniors that are living right across the street from the park, and they can't enjoy this park. But what about the well-being and the mental health of renters? They deserve for us to protect their well-being and their mental health. We need to protect the public space. And so for us being here today, it's really about a debate on the approach. We're not saying that a program, you know, a needle exchange program done within a clinic where people need to go, you know, to get services, and maybe there's a counselor there, maybe there's other support services for people. We're not saying that that's wrong. Well, we're saying that it's wrong to be bringing the needles into the parks, to meet them where they're at. That approach right there makes no sense. It definitely, the data isn't there yet, but it for sure has to do with the number of overdose deaths that's happening in LA County, and we want it to change. We've had letters sent, we're signing on to resolutions, there's now a lawsuit that people have to engage in, and you know, that's way out of hand. I think what we need is we need legislation from the state to make sure that we as cities have local control over how programs are implemented in our community. It's not a one-size-fits-all. We need to have a say. We need to be able, so we need our Senator Ben Allen, we need our Assemblymember Chavez Burr to pass that legislation, to give cities some influence, some voice in the implementation of these programs. Because the way it's working out right now in our city, we see the devastation, we see the people passed out, we see the people that are self-destruction, right? Self-destruction in our parks. And we don't think that's compassionate. We don't think that's good policy for people that are homeless. We definitely see that that's having an impact on residents, on people that deserve to come to parks, that expect to see parks where children are playing, where people are getting recreation, where they're having a good time and enjoying themselves. It's for the well-being of people, not for people to be using illegal and very harmful and very dangerous substances. So with that, I want to thank you all very much for being here, because this is going to send a very strong message. I thank the media for being here, because we need to get this message out, that Santa Monica is not against a well-run program indoors, in clinics, but we definitely are against the approach of meet them where they're at, bringing them into the parks. Parks are for children, parks are for people, for recreation, for people's well-being. And that's what we want to do, and that's what we're fighting for here today. Thank you, and God bless.
Oscar, spell your last name for me, bro.
Oscar is O-S-C-A-R, last name is D-E-L-A, Torre, T-O-R-R-E, De La Torre. Thank you very much, and God bless you all for being here.
3 separate words in the last name. All right, everybody. Aren't we proud of our council members today? Yes! I'm feeling pretty good about them. So, really quickly, what do you want?
No needles. No needles in the park.
No needles in the park. When do you want it?
Now.
What do you want?
No needles in the park.
When do you want it? Now. What do you want?
No needles in the park.
When do you want it?
Now.
And look at this gorgeous sign. Thank you, Elaine. Elaine Golden-Gellero right there made that gorgeous sign for us today. Okay, so now that we did this great chant, let me tell you another quick story about that fabulous meeting we had a few weeks ago in Van Nuys with Barbara Ferrer and her team. You know, I definitely feel really bad and very sad, and my heart stops every single time I actually see somebody struggling. I can't help it. I'm an empath and I'm a social worker. But then she followed that with, you know, the problem is that people don't understand and they don't like substance abuse users. And I was just like, what are you talking about? That is not the majority of our population. Human beings are naturally supportive of other human beings. And so then she compared illegal substance users in our parks to diabetics. She said that they're the same thing, and if only the public could see that illegal drug users in our parks are the same as diabetics. And she repeated that 3 times in this meeting.
Is she using needles?
It's a good question. Somebody just asked, is Barbara Ferrer using needles? I would say that there is a major difference between illegal substance abusers in our parks. Is one, they're using an illegal substance. The word illegal. 2, I've never seen diabetics come to the park and chuck their needles on the ground. They tend to be responsible with their actions, and diabetics need needles in order to survive. And also the other difference is, and it was already said here today, and I made the comment at that meeting, is I seriously doubt a single medical professional has written a prescription to a diabetic for a gift card to go to the candy store. So anyway, that was just a little side note. So I am going to bring up a resident from our community who has been very vocal and very active in our community and has a lot to say. He walks his dog in our streets, and he really loves this community. He's done a lot of work for our community, and he has a few words for us to say today. Arthur, you're up, and you've got 3 minutes. Thank you so much.
If this was happening in your neighborhood, would you want it in your neighborhood? Would you have harm reduction in your neighborhood? And do you have a needle distribution program in the park near you? And Gary Tsai, who's head of the entire program in LA County, said, I'm not sure. Well, the other thing he said at that meeting was himself. He said, we only collect about 40% of the needles that we distribute. And that was said at a meeting. So I just want to say, what I'm seeing here is a kind of luxury belief system of people that are out of touch, are not really present to what's happening on the streets, don't have to live with the results of what's going on, of being afraid to walk around your neighborhood, of being told to get out of my park by a high drug addict, which happened to me. And so it's this luxury belief system where they can impose a kind of regime, a zombie policy of harm reduction, which was actually invented back in the time of the HIV crisis, when the drug of choice was heroin. And people lived a long time in the streets taking heroin. They don't now. They die so quickly, and I just toggled between rage and sadness living in this neighborhood and walking around this park. It's horrendous. So I just wanted to add my voice here. I've been a gadfly on this issue for about 6 years. I will continue to do what I can, and I would just really encourage everybody here to write your city council members. They need to hear it. They hear you. They listen to. Believe me, everybody reads my stuff now. It's taken a long time, but I hear from council members. I hear from David White. You know, they pay attention, and it's raw politics. This is what it comes down to. So if you want to, you know, change things, get involved and make your voices heard. And this is a great start. So thanks so much.
And your name? Spell your name, please.
Oh, spell your name, please.
J on J. Arthur, J on J-E-O-N.
Could you stand up there?
Somebody wants to get it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Arthur.
Thank you so much, Arthur. Thank you for being a voice in our community. I urge you all, in your own way, however way you can do it, whether you're using social media, whether you're knocking on doors with your neighbors, whether you're writing letters to the city council, or, you know, organizing protests, whatever you can do, do something. Do something to stand up for your city. Santa Monica is desperate for your help and for your support and for your words and for your voice. So one more time, I just want to take the opportunity to thank all of you for being here today. We're not done. We've got one great speaker who's about to speak. But I just want to thank you all for being here. We know that we have Parks commissioners here. We know that they have done what they can do and that they have come and showed up and voiced their opinion on having needles in the parks, and they are against needles in the parks. So we thank them for showing up today. Again, we thank our city officials for being here. We thank all of you in the crowd. We thank the media for coming out. And I'd also like to give a huge shout out to the Santa Monica Coalition for organizing this event, and for our founders. John Alley, thank you so much. Jessica, thank you so much for your work. And our other founders for doing this hard work and fighting every day for our city. And then before I bring up, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up our fourth council member who voted for this resolution to get needles out of our parks, Christine Parra. But before I do that, we're going to do our fourth chant that you have not heard yet. And I have to switch to the megaphone, I'm so sorry.
All right, can you hear me? Okay, so it's the three-liner, and it starts with gleam, gleam. Don't let us down.
Don't let us down.
Fire this clown.
Fire this clown.
Okay, now we're going to say it all together, right? Gleam, gleam.
Gleam, gleam.
Don't let us down.
Don't let us down.
Fire this clown.
Fire this clown.
One more time.
Gleam, gleam. Gleam, gleam. Don't let us down.
Fire this clown.
Yeah!
And in case you're not all aware of this, let me be very specific as to why David White needs to be fired. There are 7 council members at City Council in Santa Monica. You need 4 to hire a city manager. You need 5 to fire them. We have a rogue city manager. He is operating against the will of the majority of residents in Santa Monica. It is unacceptable. Gleam Davis, Caroline Terosis, and Jesse Zwick voted against removing needles in our parks. Gleam is up for re-election. We need to let her know. Gleam, it's up to you, girl. Not only that, she has been in this community for so many years. If she is going to represent the majority of the voices in our community, she needs to stand up and fire David White. Now, let me welcome Christine Parra. Christine, I have a little gift bag for you, our other council. And thank you for making your way here today. I know it was really hard to get here. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much for having this rally today and for really kind of being a voice for this cause. This is something that is actually near and dear to my heart as a mom who has raised 3 kids in this community and is still raising 3 kids in this community, and who have attended school directly across the street for the last 14 years. And so I am a true testament to what I've seen day in and day out. Sorry, I have to speak a little bit louder. I'm a little sorry. But you know, I can testify to what I've seen day in and day out when taking my children to school. And I think that most important here, you know, among everything else, is that we protect our children. There's a lot of things, there's a lot of layers, but our children do not need to be exposed to open drug use, period. End of statement, end of line. That's just not okay. And I can tell you how many times, 10, 20, 15, 30, 40 times, that I've had to shield my child, misdirect my child as I was walking to my car to and from school every day. That's 14 years. 14 years of having to do that because somebody was openly using drugs here, right here. And as you can see, again, the school is right there. On 2 occasions, someone lost their life, allegedly as a result of an overdose on our school campus. One time, the body was found directly to the left of our school front doors. Sorry. And then one day, bringing my kid to school, there was ambulances and law enforcement all here because there was another sad soul who lost his life right there. There was another day, right here, that someone decided to slit his nut. Our children go to school here. They do not deserve to see this and be a part of this every day. We are not here as council members to say that harm reduction doesn't work. Absolutely not. What we are here to do is to protect our community, protect our parks, and protect our children. And that's what we're here to do. This is about local control. This is about collaboration. And this is about being partners. And this is about keeping our community safe. Safe. Councilmember Tracy Parks said it so eloquently recently. Our residents in our community are sick and tired of feeling unsafe. And so this is one of the first of many steps that we are trying to take to help our community, to help ourselves, to help our children to feel safe. So thank you.
Shane, spell your full name for me.
Your name?
Spell your name for me.
Christine Parra, CHRISTINE, PARRA.
Thank you so much, Christine. And what you just saw here was true heart, and that's how we all feel inside. So I think I'm just going to ask you one more time what it is that you want, and then I'm going to thank you for coming, and I'm going to send you off, and let's end this today. Let's make sure it ends here now, today. This is it. We can save our parks, save our children's, and I appreciate that we're united with all our local leaders, and thanks for. What do you want? When you want it?
Now.
What do you want?
No more needles in our parks.
When do you want it?
Now.
What do you want? When do you want it?
Yesterday.
That's right. Thank you so much for coming, everybody. You can reach us at the SantaMonicaCoalition.org. You can see us on Instagram every single day at Santa Monica Coalition. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us all over the place.
Give us your name, please.
Oh, can we get a picture of everybody? So, my name, Jessica Rogers, Jessica. Last name, Rogers, Rogers. I'm a co-founder of the Santa Monica Coalition. Okay, so everybody right here in the shade, this is a great spot. Grab your signs, we'll take a quick shot and we'll send you home. We'll get a selfie. We'll let Roxanne organize the whole thing.
Oh, that's much better. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then they've got these guys here. Huh? A champion, and I'll do it as a selfie. And then, oh, come on in. You guys want to?
No, go ahead. Let's take
all right. Christine. And if you start.
Here's your sign.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. Great job.
This is the most valuable land in the world, right? So they want us to leave so they can buy it up on the cheap. There is a Santa Monica government nerd. He's a wonderful guy, and I use the term nerd in the nicest, most complimentary way, because Mark Verville is a hero when it comes to knowing what's going on in Santa Monica for real. And Mark said a couple of months ago that the people who are behind all of this are shocked at how well it's worked.
Is that the same reason that the 3rd Street Promenade is being removed?
Yes. Yes, it's the 3rd Street Promenade, but it's all of it.
So tell us who you are.
I'm Melissa Toomim. I'm running for Congress in California's 36th Congressional District, and I would really appreciate your votes.
Definitely. I just had a brief conversation. I didn't have the camera running, but
okay, yeah. And please come to visit my website, which is toomimforcongress.com. That's TOOMIM. Here's how to spell it. The number 4, Congress.com.
Okay.
And if you want to call me, I answer the phone.
Thank you.
My phone number is 310-593-3987. It's actually published on my website. I answer when constituents call.
Are you okay if I put this up in the video on YouTube with your phone number?
Yeah, sure.
You're gonna get a lot. You'll get some unfiltered calls.
I am the cycling candidate. I started biking when I started biking to work. I caught such hell from people. I lost jobs because of showing up all sweaty and then going into the ladies' room to clean up.
Well, I was just explaining how my channel started, basically about my biking adventures around the world, and she tells me she's an avid biker as well, so we share that bond. But you know, now my channel is sort of taking a turn because my immediate neighborhood in Venice is ruined because of the unhoused and the propagating of the problem. Here we have a park just 3.5 miles north of where I live, and they have the exact same issue here. I mean, it's an agenda, and as we were saying, I mean, we really, if you follow the money, we really think it's about basically trying to get residents who are renters and owners to move out of the area so the land can be bought up on the cheap, and then massive developments can go up. They always want to basically go against our coastal commission here, which we put in the 1970s to say, let's stop overdeveloping, let's not turn this into a Miami. And now it's all getting overturned because we can say, oh, it's affordable housing for the unhoused. The real issue, it's drug addiction, and we are propagating and we are enabling that addiction.
And all of this so-called affordable housing is empty. They are not putting homeless people in those apartments.
No.
They are sitting there empty, and the question is, what are they waiting for? Who are they waiting for to fill those buildings?
They'd rather have them be unoccupied because then that's their real estate portfolio, which they take loans against, much like the buildings in downtown LA that are now getting graffiti up and down. That was a Chinese corporation who was allowed to develop, who had the funds, who then pulled out of the project, and now they're unfinished. Of course, we're going to build them, as the city of LA says, we're going to build them, but there's no way to build. The company has already declared bankruptcy. Who are you going to build? You have an empty building that's going to cost the city millions to knock down or guard. Yeah, because they use that as a... If you look at what they're doing with the Chinese banking system, that's a scam they've been running for 30 years in China. You get developers' money, you build up the properties, you don't build them up to current standards, you borrow against that property to build your next property. It's a pyramid scheme, and I think that's what they're trying to do here, get us all to move out and snatch up this property and develop high-rise real estate and promise condos on the beach for every homeless person around the world.
They're buying up the houses on Palisades. They're buying up the house, they're offering the owners of the houses that live that are between 7th and Ocean. They're offering them obscene amounts of money to get rid of them because, just like you said, they want to turn this into Miami Beach. A whole bunch of soulless high-rises, no community, no neighborhood,
just money,
no local business, just
money.
Their money,
Yeah.
just their money.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts?
No, I want to get your card and I want to get your information.
What's
your YouTube? We're so old.
You're a little presumptuous on the budget of our YouTube channel. We're such a shoestring budget. I ran out of battery. I don't have money for an extra battery. I'm shooting on my phone now. This thing. It's Danny Slant, DANNY SLANT on YouTube, on Instagram, on Gmail.
Danny Slant.
I don't have a pen, but wait, I have my phone.
Danny Slant, do you have a pen?
I do not have a pen,
We're so
unfortunately.
old, we have a pen and a card.
From Reed Park in Santa Monica, it's Danny Slant saying ciao ciao for now. Remember, if you enjoyed the content on the Danny Slant channel, do me a favor and push that notification button. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. It allows this channel to continue. Ciao ciao for now.